And today we are back with another episode of Diffusion podcast. And today we have Maria Goreti, leader of deScier, an initiative that is leading the forefront of innovation and decentralized science. Maria, welcome, and feel free to introduce yourself.
Thank you, Ricky. It is a wonderful time to be here with you, GM. I am joining today from a very shiny day in Campinas, São Paulo. It's the interior of this wonderful state here in Brazil. So, very nice to talk to you again. We have been in touch in many events. So, I'm pleased to join you today with a Diffusion podcast.
Yeah, it was actually for a long time we've been talking, engaging in the industry. We saw all the development that we had. I think especially during the last year, the industry, when we think about blockchain, especially has matured so much because we went from crypto finance into Web3, which is more like a social layer of the blockchain. And now we're moving to network state. Yeah. So thinking about what in the stage that we are right now, how do you see the future prospections of 2025 when it comes to the industry? What motivates you to stay on the track on the blockchain?
Thank you for your question, Ricky. I am a very optimistic person, and I'm always looking to the bright side of things. Uh, However, I have just been to an event in a huge lawyer's office in São Paulo. It was last Monday, yeah. So really very recent, where we had the opportunity to talk with the Central Bank of Brazil, representatives of the Central Bank of Brazil, and also CVM, that is our SEC, our SEC here in Brazil. And it's amazing to me what those guys they are doing regarding the evolution of blockchain in their perspective, in the perspective of regulatory bodies and also authority. So this event made me even more optimistic for the next year.
Honestly, I see a huge interaction between the public and the private sector, which for me was a bit of a surprise. We have very intelligent people working in strategic places, even in the governmental level, which is like I think
That's right.
the main reason why the like we had so many advancements like most people don't know they might be hearing this like from
Right.
international audience, but we had the PIX, we had digital payments being introduced in Brazil really quick, and that's thankfully for the brilliant minds that we have working in favor of the conjunction between public and private. And I believe Brazil will be far ahead in the game in the next few years because we have been moving very fast with blockchain and blockchain application. That's the most important. Yeah. So let's probably think about from your perspective as a scientist. You are a
Yes,
PhD in molecular biology, which is amazing,
that's right.
and
Thank you.
science especially. How do you see the role of blockchain when it comes to democratizing science and making it more efficient?
That's great. That's great. These the people that were in the event actually they were surprised that there was a scientist in the audience, but um, the way I see is infrastructure to all the industries, right? And it's not different for science. Science is an industry, it's huge industry. Only here in Brazil, we have 1.21% of our GDP every year dedicated to science and technology. And the GDP, the Brazilian GDP is huge. So I'll give you an amount in dollars. This is like $2.1 trillion just for science. So it is what it moves the projects, what moves all the scientific development. And not only that, we also have private investment, we have startups, we have deep techs. We also have private capital that goes into research and development. So this is the way I look to those happenings, to those developments in the central bank and also on the CEC, the SEC, better say, and here in Brazil. And the future is promising. I see the DREX, that's our CBDC, our central bank digital currency. It is going to be launched on the first quarter of 2025, as I've heard. And I want also to invite everyone, all your audience and yourself, Ricky, to have a look at the public consultation that the central bank is currently doing. They are undertaking this research, and I think it's a very good channel for us, for all of us in all industries, to give them a hint of what lies ahead with all those changes that they are spearheading.
Yeah, it's amazing, like listening from you as a scientist, and you're being like part of this. Let's say it's more than a financial revolution. I'd say it's about democratizing even more the world that we live in, because resources not always is limited to financial. Of course, you get to fund project ideas, solution products, inventions with capital. There's no doubt about that, but sometimes it's about getting resources in the sense of intellectual minds. I think recently we've been into São Carlos, which is like a city in São Paulo that has, I think, one PhD for 100 persons, something like this. And
Yeah,
so we have
it's
to
the
get to,
PhD capital in Brazil, right
so
here in the countryside of São Paulo. Yeah.
having all these intellectual minds onboarded in an ecosystem that can intercommunicate with other intellectuals in the world, and all of them they're feeded with resources in like financial level.
Yeah.
I believe we can like do a real like leapfrog into the future. You can probably talk a little bit more about your experience because you've been to Vitalia. I know Prosper has some startups in that sense that focus on scientific development. If you can talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure, Ricky. And as you're saying, and I like very much when you talk about the democratization, because this is what it is about when we talk about DREX, when we talk about blockchain, Web3, and even digital currencies and digital assets. That's what we are talking about. We are not only talking about a financial revolution, but it's about people. And funding is the first step for anybody who wants to do a project. Um, Even for scientific projects, it's the same. I sometimes make a parallel of a startup with a scientific project, or better saying, a scientific project with a startup. You need capital, you need funding, and usually these funds they are how can I say in a very nice way. Um, they are very limited. they are restricted, and sometimes you have to fit yourself into a certain model, into a certain area of knowledge to be able to use those funds. It's very competitive. We have some agencies here in Brazil that everybody knows, like the CNPq, the state funding agencies like FAPESP, FAPERJ, we have CAPES, we have FINEP, and usually they make a call and they will say, this is a call of 1 million reais for this subject. So let's say if dengue, the dengue disease is up, it will be for dengue. If it's COVID, it's for COVID. So it also restricts um, the amount of money that circulates for all scientists. Um, about Vitalia, you were asking me in the when we were talking before the podcast, where how did I go there, and it is very interesting because you can say that it was the universe or the algorithm of YouTube, because I was in the bus going from Sao Paulo to Rio. It's 7 hours travel, on the road, and suddenly YouTube just pop up recommending for me to watch Nicholas Anzinger. I do not know if you know him, and Sebastian Brunmeier. They were in a podcast, like just like we are doing now, and they were talking, about the advancement of science and how could clinical research go much faster in, in a proper environment. So I was listening very carefully, and they said, for whoever stayed this far with us, it was around a 1 hour podcast. Internet was good, even though it was on the road, in the middle of the mountains and everything. We have a surprise, and this is a link to with an invitation to come to Vitalia. And I said, I went to the link. I was inside the bus and just filling up this form to go to Vitalia. And when I finished, I submitted. I pressed the submitted button, and I said, "Oh God, where is this going to be?" And I realized that I applied for something that resonated with me a lot without even knowing where it was. It ended up being in an island called Roatan in Honduras that I had never been before. So I said, well, now it is too late, I have to go, because it was just my heart started pounding, and I said, I must go. I must go. This is the people who talk my language, and I do not know where it is, but I'm going. So it was a wonderful experience. I stayed there for the whole month of January this year, 2024. Was introduced to a amazing tribe in a Zede, and Zede in English is special zone of how can I say, development and employment. So it's Zede because it's Spanish, but it's a special zone where regulations are in such a way that allow you to go faster with your ideas, to implement, and also just pivot and do whatever you have to do for making your ideas reality.
Amazing. I think it's interesting because now we are moving from one-time events, yeah, and now you see people staying in events for a month or even more than that. We had Crescimento. I think you've been there as well.
Yeah, yeah.
You're like, I love that because you're attending to the right places. Not everyone is. No, like I know a lot of people from the Web3 industry, the blockchain industry, they are not yet into network state, which for me was like, oh wow! So you even in such an innovative environment, you will have people that are like on the frontier of that. Because I consider a network state something that is like very ahead of the game, even in comparison to Web3. But it will play a huge role, as you mentioned, because you get together with people that are building the future. They're actually putting their hands at work, and we will see a lot of things coming out of those places like Crescimento. How was your experience in Crescimento?
Yeah, one thing takes to the other, as you can imagine, and it must have been the same for you. But it's all interconnected, right? Because you cannot go faster with your ideas if you do not have the right environment. And the right environment is the network state, not, um, not just the definition of the network state like Balaji launched, but in the broader sense, in the sense of community, in the sense of regulatory frameworks, in the sense of people living already in the future. So that was the same with Crescimento. There was a DeSci nucleus there, and this means decentralized the science. So it is a group inside this Web3 huge tribe that believes on science and the quest for knowledge, that, science is this quest for knowledge with applicability, if I had to say in one sentence, right? And some people, they get the first part of this sentence, the knowledge part, and others go for applicability. We are both right. We're both correct in the sense of being a scientist, being in this quest. And there was a nucleus on Crescimento that they want to integrate, they want to use the Web3 rails, the digital currencies rails, to leapfrog, like you said, the science movement and the science industry as well. So they invited me to go. And of course, I said yes. It was in Latin America. Buenos Aires, I had never, I was in Buenos Aires 40 years ago for collecting mosquitoes, but I had to go back there, and it was a wonderful place as well. All those pop-up cities, they have this vibe, Ricky, that I know a vibe of come here. I want to hear your idea. I I I want to help you. I am in a different industry. Maybe I'm in a blockchain that wants to have use cases. So let's talk. How can I contribute with your project, and how can we together just go faster? And this is the vibes that these pop-up cities have.
Yeah, the concept of network state, I think, is better embodied by what we can see and practice in real life. Pop-up cities are the first thing we can refer to when it comes to, okay, so what is this thing when you think about the world that we live in? So pop-up cities, from my perspective, are the way online communities can materialize and get together, because we
That's
are in a
right.
huge industry, a globalized industry. We are in a huge, as mentioned, a huge tribe that is digital native. And now you're like in Brazil, but then you get connected with people in Singapore and Europe and Argentina. But of course, the physicality, I think Balaji enforces that the physicality is still a need for us, especially when it comes to getting together to work. Adoption has been one of the things that I think blockchain industry has been focusing a lot in last years, creating real use cases. And those environments that you stay together with people that understand the technology, and more than that, able to provide continuous feedback in a closed loop. It's amazing, because then you get together to create products coming straight to the events. I think Vitalik has mentioned that, and one event that he has been, I think it was Uzalu, and it was almost 1 month, and then they had a lot of things coming out of that in terms of products and solution. So, Maria, thinking about now Brazil perspective, how do you see the role of the Brazilian ecosystem integrated with the global? What can you tell the audience? What's the big, contribution that Brazilians builders in Web3 can bring together into the global environment?
A lot. And I can just maybe just stop there, but I will expand. Uh, we are really innovators, even when you look at statistics, Brazilians just love novelties. And we are a huge population, 200 million people, and a lot of innovators in this huge population. If I don't have the numbers right now, but we were maybe I still believe that we are first one country in adopting WhatsApp. And if it was not the case right now that we're the first in numbers, we were the first into adoption acceleration. So it is really amazing what we want, and we were amazing what we are trying to experience and experiment. It was the same with this instantaneous payment that you just mentioned before. It's called Pix. It's a almost peer-to-peer. Is well, the technology is not peer-to-peer, but is instantaneous payments. So this made the adoption to be like in 1 month. It was like 60% of the population using, 200 billion transactions in 2 years of the adoption of these instantaneous payments. We have people who are really willing to get very deep into not only new technologies, but also new ways of living. And I can say from my side, from the scientific side, that we also have been putting a lot of effort in the scientific community and in academia. I am 63 years old, so I was born in 1961. It was the same year that the first PhD was given the title here in Brazil. So in one lifetime, in one generation, we got from one PhD in the year 1961 to 25,000 PhDs last year. And this is huge. This is a huge success for education and also for the science community. It is 50,000 people every year with a master's degree and 25,000 per year with a PhD degree. So also our funding agencies have put a lot of money and a lot of effort for us to go everywhere in the world. We are disputed when we get in international labs as a science. People want us. They they want us because of our ethics. You know, we are very hard workers, and also our abilities of resilience, our abilities with equipment. You know, I want to say a very Brazilian word that you know as well, Ricky, that's gambiarra. And we are very well known by this. What is gambiarra? Gambiarra, it is a way of fixing things in a different, how can I say, you just look to a problem with a different angle. Let's put it this way, you know, if you have to just put tables in places that nobody thought that it could be possible, or just add another piece of equipment, but you solve. And because of these abilities and work ethics, you know, usually very pleasant people as well, we are highly disputed. And while people talk about brain drain, I talk about brain expansion, because every Brazilian who goes abroad and establish himself or herself in those labs, they usually attract a lot more Brazilians to their labs, and also want to contribute to Brazilian science or to areas of knowledge that deal with Brazil. So it is, we are everywhere in those places. I speak English today because I received a scholarship from CNPq. It is the Brazilian Science Council. And to tell you the truth, I was 23 years old. I could not speak fluent English. And it was the fact that they sent me away for a good period of time that I was able to become fluent in English. And becoming fluent in English today is the Latin language for science in the world. You must speak English to be able to speak to other scientists, and also to be updated with all the scientific developments.
Wow, you went through a lot of interesting stuff, and if I if I have to go one by one, we can stay here 24 hours speaking on that, and we will not exhaust all of the subjects. We are heading to the end of the podcast. We only have 8 minutes left, but probably just ask you one question to close this. But I would like to also touch point real quick on what you mentioned about the English language. My understanding is the native language of the network state will be English. Because honestly,
I
I
see.
I spoke with a lot of people. I work with a lot of people across different regions, and people have no idea. Even Chinese today, I have worked with Chinese people. You know, usually they would be very proud about speaking Chinese. No, today they speak English, perfect
Yeah.
English. Some of them they went to study in the US. So I would say the lingua franca, the Latin language, as you
Yeah.
mentioned, for
Yeah.
everything on the network state will be English. So that's the way you connect with people, you know, and that's what
Yeah.
we're building on Tools for the Commons as well, is building the bridges, yeah, for people around the world to work together, to collaborate, to create solutions, to solve problems. We have a lot of problems in terms of like the world is evolving and things also problems also evolve. So we have to come up with creative solutions, and Brazilians are very good with that. So Maria, let me ask you just one last question. We have only 7 minutes left, but I'd like to hear from you. What is your vision about the future? From now, we are in 2024. From here until 2026, what are the major developments on the blockchain industry and the network state level you would like to see, or you believe we will be seeing in the next 2 years?
Well, that's a very difficult question, actually, Ricky. You know, we have seen so many developments, isn't it? Even with AI, you know, it was what less than 1 year or 1 year, around 1 year that ChatGPT was launched.
3 years ago.
Three? No, is
Two
that so?
years. 1 year and a half, 2 years ago.
Yeah, and you can see what's going on. You know, I'm on Twitter, I'm on X, usually every day, and I have been following all those developments with AI, and right now we have AI agents. I'm sure that you have heard of them, but those are like profiles that were made with AI, and an American investor gave the first AI that was called Gold, 50K in a crypto, in a digital currency, and this AI started the trading. It made some money for itself, and now has a community. So there are platforms where you can create your virtual agent. You can also create your own profile, your avatar. You can feed with your personality and what kind of answers you would give to your followers. It all came so fast, wasn't it? So 2026 is more than 12 months ahead. I would not tell
Not
you.
even there. You wouldn't need that.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
wouldn't dare, you know, I wouldn't
but
dare.
let's agree one thing then maybe. I look forward for a more interconnected world, and I believe we are on the right track for that. Get more people together, more people working together, collaborating, and technology
Yeah.
bridging all of us. Okay, Maria. So we have only 4 minutes left, but if you want to, pitch in your social medias,
Okay.
so people get to know as
Yeah.
well.
Thank you, Ricky. I wouldn't. It's very kind of you. Right now, I'm the leader of deScier. So those who make decentralized the science, who do decentralize the science, and we have some initiatives. And the initiative that I would like to let everybody know is the DeSci journals. We are a platform that can be used as a journal, as a service. Today, for anyone who is an author to publish, you pay a lot of money. In my sector, that's the public health area, we pay from $2,000 to $6,000 for one article, for one paper, and plus 4K US dollars for open access, meaning that people would not have to pay $50 to read your article. So a sum of 10K, $10,000 for one paper. And some journals, they even charge like 10,000 plus the 4K, so around 14 to 15K just for an article. In the end, you get expropriated of your copyright. So this is very unfair for authors and also for the institutions. And we have created this solution. It's called the DeSci journals. You can reach us at platform.deSci.reviews, and submit your article, and also create your own journal. If you have a community, or if you are in an area of knowledge that you would like to create your own journal and operate as a digital cooperative, just go to this site and you'll see that this solution is already working for you. Papers can be turned into NFTs. And I hope the audiences here can understand that NFT is a non-fungible token, can be put in your wallets, in your digital wallets, and you can create a portfolio of scientific assets. So this is a new world, a new future for science. We have other solutions like registering in blockchain all your developments, all your protocols, images, whatever is new. You can just timestamp what you're doing and receive a certificate of authenticity that can also be used as a proof of anteriority of all your ideas, of all your work. So you can reach me in LinkedIn and on Twitter, Maria Goreti Freitas, on Telegram, just opened an account on TikTok, LinkedIn as well. I think I've already mentioned. I just want to thank you very, very much, Ricky, for this space, for talking to you. Always a pleasure. And let's just do the evolution go faster. Thanks a lot, Ricky.
Let's build it together. It was a pleasure to have you here today, Maria. Till next.